President-elect Trump choosing Mike Huckabee for the job of U.S. ambassador to Israel. Now, this is a decision that would have huge ramifications. And we have a very different view on policy, what Huckabee's put forward, than any other ambassadors so publicly who have served in that role. K-File tonight is revealing that Huckabee said, quote, "There's really no such thing as a Palestinian." Never mind a state. Huckabee making extensive comments on this topic when he was running for president in 2008. And Andrew Kaczynski of K-File joins me now. In the context of the war and the fears that it could become a much, much bigger war, this reporting is so crucial. What more do you know about what Mike Huckabee has said?
Right, and this nomination of Mike Huckabee as ambassador to Israel, this is a extremely hawkish pick by President-elect Trump. He has a track record of highly polarizing comments on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. These views go back years, with him repeatedly questioning the legitimacy of a Palestinian state on the border with Israel. He has said that if a Palestinian state were to be created, it should be not created where it is now. It should be created with land from the neighboring countries, Syria, Jordan, Egypt. He even described the Palestinian identity in one of the clips he found as, quote, "a political tool to try and force land away from Israel." Now, I first obtained these comments we're about to hear when he ran for president in 2016. Just take a listen to them right now.
Basically, I mean, there really is no such thing as, and I have to be careful in saying this because people will really get upset. There's really no such thing as a Palestinian. There's not. Arabs and Persians, you don't have, you know, and there's such complexity within that. There's really no such thing. That's been a political tool to try to force land away from Israel.
I mean, just obviously hugely significant. You're talking about he would, if anything, take land from neighboring countries. Obviously, the clear implications there would be for Israel to annex the West Bank, which is obviously seismic, if true. Andrew, obviously, this isn't the only time Huckabee has talked about this issue. I mean, this is an issue that he feels is deeply personal.
That's right. That's right. He takes trips to Israel. This goes back all the way, I mean, to 2008, where we played that initial clip from. But this is a position that he has consistently had. It is far from the only time that he has said it. He has said consistently that he opposes a two-state solution. He has said, quote, "There's plenty of land outside Israel and the rest of the world for a Palestinian state." Take a listen to him going a little bit further on that in 2015.
The two-state solution, if we mean two governments holding the same piece of real estate, is irrational and unworkable. If there is a two-state solution, the Palestinian state needs to be outside the boundaries of the nation of Israel. There's plenty of land in the world that we could find a place and say, okay, let's create a Palestinian state.
So we did reach out to Huckabee personally. We reached out to the Trump transition, and we asked them if he stood by those comments. We didn't hear back from either of them, so it's going to be interesting to see how all of this plays out, especially with the conflict that's going on right now in Gaza.
Certainly, and raises questions of the voters and the voters who had voted for Jill Stein as an opposition to Kamala Harris, so they may feel about what.
And some of them even voted for Trump as well.
And some of them even voted for Trump, and this is well, this is what you would have thought Trump, this is consistent with the words that they've put out before. All right, Andrew, thank you very much.
There are certain words I refuse to use. There is no such thing as a West Bank. It's Judea and Samaria. There's no such thing as a settlement. They're communities, they're neighborhoods, they're cities. There's no such thing as an occupation.
All right, our panel is back. Stephen Collinson, Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu's Israel likely to welcome this pick. It's worth noting Huckabee is the first in quite some time to not be Jewish in this role, but of course evangelical Christians, and that's really kind of Huckabee's defining political identity, have a very specific relationship with the Jewish state, and you heard him articulate some of it here. What does it mean?
This is a clear sign that the administration's first-term policy, which was very solicitous towards the Netanyahu coalition, will continue and will go even further. It will be regarded as a disaster by Palestinians who still are a long way from that two-state solution, which now seems almost likely never to happen given the events of the last year or so. I think it poses two real questions, notwithstanding the fact that the ambassador doesn't make the policy, the president does. How will this be seen by some of Trump's allies in the Arab world? with whom he wants to create this realignment of the Middle East between Israel, some of the Gulf states, and Iran. That could be a problem if this is the Trump policy.
Yeah, I mean, Brad, how do you see that piece of this?
Well, I think if you look back at the first Trump administration, the signature foreign policy success happened in Israel. Democrats lost their mind when Donald Trump moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, even though that many of them had voted for it. And then when he recognized the Golan Heights, they said, this is terrible, it's going to cause disruptions. It didn't. Instead, what happened is, as soon as the United States was fully behind Israel without question, we got the Abraham Accords and a lot of Arab nations making peace with Israel for the first time. I think that Donald Trump has figured out the code on this. The United States has to stand with Israel and make it completely clear it stands with Israel, and then things will begin to take place and work out in the Middle East. I think it's a good pick. Mike Huckabee spent a ton of time in Israel. He has a lot of relationships there. I think it's a good pick.
Well, just one thing I wanted to add is, Trump is doing exactly what he said he was going to do, which is that he wanted Netanyahu to escalate the conflict, not de-escalate the conflict. And there's going to be a lot of potentially civilian casualties if that happens. And if you see that happen, you're going to see this become even more of a fight on the left part of the Democratic Party.
I think that's true, but I also think it will be, if the violence continues to unravel in the way that we've seen and he's not able to actually stop the violence, I think that's going to be a stain on his administration early on, depending upon how this plays out.